guys? It's Bevie Stitch here at the House of Fresh with Triple, Sean Cassidy, and we want you guys to stay tuned.
Postea pero nunca comenta para atrás. Te enseña lo que quiere solo por Snap. Su vida se la vive sin nadie opinar, pero conmigo siempre anda aunque piensen que ella anda sola.
Hey you guys, Bevie Stitch here at the House of Fresh with Sean Cassidy, recording artist, producer, writer, and also recently graduate with his MBA. Sean, thank you for being here. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing great. Oh my God, you have so much going on with you.
Yeah, appreciate it. We're working.
You're working. I only named a few. I know you have a project coming up with executive producer Drama Boy. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. We do. We had a couple things going on.
Okay, yeah. And you also are working with Knucklehead?
Indeed. Yeah, we have. He's actually managing me right now, so he's putting some things in front of me. We get some things done. Can
we know a little bit of what we should expect from you?
Well, right now, I've been writing a lot for some artists, trying to get some publishing done with some TV series, and like you said, Drum Boy is executive producing my project with 3Play, so we got some things going on. So like I said, it's pretty exciting right now. We're pretty busy.
Yeah, you have a lot going on. Well, Sean, I'm really happy to be sitting here with you. I know that you've had a very, how would I word this? Let's see. You have had a life of many that can relate to. Mm-hmm. You're very relatable, so I'm sure that you're sharing a lot of that with your music and with everything that whoever you encounter, I'm sure that you're spreading a little bit of what you've been through and try to uplift them, right?
Absolutely. That's pretty much the goal, is just trying to reach some emotional point with the audience, with the listener. Whether it's inspiring them, whether it's enticing them to love, or to kind of whatever, the way that I connect with the audience. We kind of want to bring emotion out, to be able to kind of tell our story and kind of reach those people and kind of tell their story and kind of be the voice for the listener. So that's the exciting part.
You're definitely the voice, and it's very important that I personally feel, as being an outsider and looking into the music industry, it's very important that you guys are spreading a message that is changing the world into a positive.
Indeed.
You definitely have the platform to make that change.
Indeed.
Sean, I do know that with your life you dealt with a lot of mental illness.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. So I'm pretty expressive myself, and I would say that I should include that a little bit more in my music and my delivery, but right now we're kicking up a nonprofit, right, for mental health awareness. My brand is pretty much built and established around mental health awareness, just to kind of, like I said, reach out to those people that may not think that it's cool, or that or that is may feel weak to kind of express themselves, how they feel, just because in our culture, it's frowned upon for a male to kind of express themselves or talk about things amongst their friends or their loved ones. So I think that the fact that I'm able to divide the vulnerability and the conversations that I have on camera, and then what I present in music, because it's actually a part, what we talk about, it may not be good, but that's kind of, where we come from, and that's what we kind of explain in our life. So to be able to explain that part through music, but again, still be vulnerable in front of the camera, in front of my viewers, or, if you meet me, you have a conversation with me, you kind of be able to pick that up.
Yeah.
We kind of have a bond, that's, further than just the music.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do fear expressing that vulnerability, especially the male figure. You are expected to be this strong person that you could have emotions, but that's usually silent. So it's about time that we break through that barrier and we allow men to express themselves, because we are all, as humans, we all go through pain and we all suffer,
right,
and we all need to cope in a certain way. Right. And with your upbringing in school, I know that you were bullied by teachers, you bullied coming, in your neighborhood, everything. There was a lot of people letting you know, like, you can't do certain things, right?
Right. And like, strong people, are moved in ways that people don't really understand. And, that it's not biased towards being positive and negative, right? So some people can, for a strong person, something that may not affect one individual may affect a strong-minded individual because they don't know where their vulnerability is, that space that they've been in their life. So I think that, again, for me to project such confidence, right, it's kind of a reflection of me being able to, understand that human beings, that we are human, and that just because, you may say something or do something that's, that may not be, liked in the light of, humanity or culture, but still be able to, like I said, view the other side of it and kind of, let people know, hey, you're not a bad person because you've done this or because you thought about this. It's a part of the human process.
Yeah.
And kind of owning up to that as an individual and being honest with yourself about that, I think that makes you a human. I think that kind of, helps you move forward. And I try to project that in the music.
Okay, well, can't wait to hear more of your music and get inspired by everything that you have to say. With everything that I'm bringing up regarding mental illness, there's a big point to that, is because I do feel that every time something happens to anyone, like what happened right now with George Floyd, they want to blame mental illness either on the cop or the person. You know what I'm saying? I've seen that a lot, where they want to excuse the reason for certain behaviors or why they had to take those measures. How do you feel with what's going on right now?
So I look at it, and a lot of it, definitely is a reflection of what I've gone through personally.
Okay.
So it does touch home. But I do realize that, again, people are human, and sometimes things are just personal. Has nothing to do with skin color, nothing to do with that. You may have just had a bad day, right? Your wife may have just cussed you out at home, so you want to go to work, and drop your nuts.
Pretty much, yeah.
You know what I mean? You never know. And, like, people, it's easy to classify into just, place, ignorance and boxes, right, of what you think the reason is for them acting out. Right, the same way they do with, like, black people in black culture, right? They think that, oh, they're acting like this or acting like this. There must be a problem. This must be wrong. Like, no, like, that's how certain people express themselves, and some of them just happen to have a badge and a gun, right? So their expression is, it's kind of backed up. So, you have, like, the white brotherhood or the white patriarchal brotherhood, and then you have, the police patriarchal brotherhood, right? And to both, you want to prove to that audience that you're worthy of that title, right? In the same way as being a black man, you have two patriarchal brotherhoods to be accepted to. You have to be accepted as a black man first, right? You got to look black, do black shit to be accepted as a black man, but then you have the patriarchal brotherhood, which is just the brotherhood of men, to be accepted and to be looked at. It's like, oh, this guy he's a, a responsible man, he's a strong man, he's this and that and third. So I think that, just looking at the human aspect of people and how they approach their business, how they approach their jobs, I think that their personal life is very, tightly intertwined with, how they react to social situations and how they react to relative to their power and what they can do.
What do you wish that the people that were there during this event where George Floyd lost his life, the person recording, the police officers that were there, along with the cop that was kneeing him, what do you wish they had done differently?
For me not being there, it's kind of hard to gauge the situation because I'm going to have my opinion of, what happened from what I seen.
Right.
But I just know that, the situation could have been handled differently. Right. I think that it could have been handled with, a little more, being more of a humanitarian, right? Understanding that this person is a human. They may have done wrong, right? But I think that, the other cops and other police officers that were, with him, with the guy that was kneeling on the ground, I think that, they were just supporting, their police brotherhood. You see what I'm saying? So, like, no matter what's going on, they have to live with that decision and they have to go back to that. So they're going to defend home. They're going to protect home, which is, their brotherhood, their job. So, I don't really blame everybody else that was kind of there, right? Again, because they're trained to, do that. it's not like it's an accident. It's like they didn't act out. They're trained to do that. So, you know, what do you expect of someone that hasn't grown up in the situation, hasn't been presented with the situation in their regular lifestyle, but yet they're confronted with these real life situations, you know, in fear and with weapons. So, you know, I just think that's a catastrophe within itself. So you gotta just look at it, you know, you can't think too hard, you know, about the situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of these people, like, you know, they kind of get into these roles and these positions, and they want to exert power. They want to project power and control, right? Like, that's, so, you know, like I said, I just think that, you know, even the bystanders, you know, it hurt to see them just sit there and record, because of course they couldn't do anything, right? So, you know, I think it's just more just like a top-down thing, to where we can't really do anything until we're in the position, we're in the roles, right? Those executive roles, those lieutenant roles, those governor roles, to actually impact and control the situations. Because other than that, we're kind of just talking, right? It's not really doing anything.
Yeah, well, do you think that, I mean, I totally understand that, but do you think that they didn't want to do anything because of fear that they might get shot themselves, or they might get arrested themselves as well? So,
absolutely. I mean, you know, if this person is in the wrong, right, they're making an example of him in front of the community, right? So at that point, you can almost just imagine the rage, you know, they had, just to watch and to feel helpless. Like, that's the worst thing you can do to a grown man, is to make them feel helpless.
Yeah.
Right? It's the worst thing you can do. So, like, you know, they've been doing that shit since, you know, slavery time, you know, where they would take the strongest man, you know, tar him up and feather him and put him apart by a horse in front of the whole plantation. The most dominant, the biggest, strongest nigga on the yard. They do that to him to say, you know, this is what's going to happen to you. And if that can happen to him, it can happen to anybody. And that's kind of used to control. It's almost like breaking a horse, right? It's used to control. And, like, you know, people, you know, nothing, I don't think that anything is going to happen and things are going to change until people really, like, just rise up and just revolt, you know, back at the incident. You know, I don't think that anything is going to change. And we can talk, but in history, throughout history, I don't care if it's in America or anywhere around the world, violence literally has been the key to change, right? Whether it's by force, whether it's by submission, whether it's by religion, there has to be some massive change, massive force to change the, you know, the ideas and the projections of how people perceive, you know, a race or situation. So, like, I feel like none of that really is gonna matter. Like, I think that we, you know, eventually will rise up and kind of do something like that, and it's gonna be scary when we have to, you know, when our backs are against the wall, but, you know.
It actually does feel scary already, because I've been seeing the riots that are going on, and they're going into stores, taking everything, you know, blowing up cars. I mean, I know that happens here and there every time when they get so, when people really get to the point where, like, we're done, we're going to go out and we're going to protest, and we're just going to show that we need justice.
Yeah,
so,
but protest is not going to do anything, and breaking our own shit not going to do anything either. That's almost like telling your kid to go to their room and they turn their bed over. So okay. I don't give a fuck. That's your bed. That's not my stuff, right? So I feel like until we go into their backyard and we change the daily habits and the daily lives of how they live and impact them directly when it's in their backyard, and say, oh, like, I understand that now. Nothing will ever change. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing will ever change. You can never feel the emotion and the pain from somebody if you don't go through it. You can say, I understand and I get it all you want. It's totally, you know, it's totally irrelevant to, you know, how we feel and how we feel oppressed, and, you know, how anyone else of color feels, right? So I feel like if you're not white, you're black, right? So I feel like we all kind of going through the same thing. We all have our different channels of communication, and we all have our social media that pushes to the outlets and everything like that. But I feel like, you know, again, like, all this protesting and stuff is a waste of time. I think that it's not going to do anything. I think we should stop looting and tearing up our own neighborhoods and our shops. I think that's pointless as well. Yeah. You know, it really needs to hit home for some people. I don't think that's going to be done through, you know, through speaking.
Through speaking or rioting?
No, that's not really. We've been rioting for 100 years.
How would you approach the situation if you had the power to speak to all these people right now, and, like, what would you say for them to hold their hearts, I guess? I don't really think it's a talking. I think it's a conversation. I think it's more of
again, me being in a position or someone being in a position that makes the calls, right? They make the decisions, whether you're lieutenant, whether you're mayor, whether you're governor, right? You have to be in a position of power to make those decisions, right? They may make you feel like you have power, or give you treats, or try to give you little rewards to make you feel like you're a part of what they got going on, but you're still under the boss, and you still aren't the person to make decisions, so you have to answer to that person. So I feel like until colored people try to be lawyers, right? And I say be a lawyer, I don't mean be a lawyer and to learn and master the current law. It's to go in there to master and change and update the law.
Yeah.
Right? It's to understand political points and to go in there and to be able to and change and use your political pool, right? We don't have people in the back office that we can call, that can put us on, and people that we can call, right? They have that. So we need to create that structure for ourselves to where we have pool in the political game.
Yes.
We are influencing things. We are making the decisions. And until that happens, I think that we're going to be in the same position.
Okay, so definitely having more people of color educating themselves and going towards those political positions where they can be in the house, they can be the next president, they can actually be the change, because obviously that's the only change we can really get right now, is having those people in there so that we can enforce that, because until then we're just gonna pretty much be people in the street being mad.
Exactly, that and the media outlets as well. So we control the media, it don't matter what we do as well, because the media controls the narrative and that's what they watch. Which
is so important that we actually spread what we really think through our social media.
That's a lot of this falsified, of course, pushed through, mainstream, That's a whole different conversation, but, I think that, again, they all kind of go hand in hand to have that influence over the masses and to actually go in there with, with meaning to kind of make the changes that we want to.
So you've had a very exciting life. You've done a lot of things, good, bad, whatever, a little bit of everything. Do you think that, have you thought for a moment, like, damn, that could have been me? Like that.
Oh, like absolutely. I was just on the side of the highway like last week. We got pulled over for bottlenecking. Basically, I was going too slow in the fast lane.
Okay.
So, just to kind of see the energy that he had. And, I ain't want no parts. I was good. He told us to get out and walk down the highway. 25, whatever. But to kind of just see like, he came up to me and kind of opened my bag, was like, what you got in there? Like,
wow.
Right? If I wanted to be on bullshit, I could have, but, that's not the place or the time. And right now, with everything going on, like, if you're not really doing anything, you kind of, like, got to swallow your pride and kind of,
swallow your pride.
Yeah,
that's hard.
You got to kind of get there. And it's frustrating,
Yeah.
Just because, he has a badge, but, again, like, what influence am I going to make by making an example of myself if I try to do that by myself?
Yeah.
That's not smart. Right?
Yeah.
There's no good out of any situation that could have happened if I would have swelled up.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? There's no good. So, like, I think that, just instances like that to where, young black colored men and women have to go through, I definitely feel their pain and understand the frustration of kind of feeling like you have your hands tied and no one's there to kind of hear you cry or feel your emotions of what you're really going through.
Yes. Well, Sean, I feel like you have a lot of positivity to give out to the world and continue using it for greatness. And just remember that everything you went through, whether it was good, bad, you survived it and you are in the position you're in because God in the universe wanted you to speak. So keep speaking, get louder and louder, and make sure that at some point, you can look back and be proud and be like, I did make that change, because even if it's like 5 people in your circle, someone's listening.
Right.
And you are influencing someone's life. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you.
Indeed. Absolutely. It's a pleasure having you as well.
Yeah, so where can we find you? Where can we tell the people to find you here?
You can find me on all social platforms at IamSeanCassidy.com. There's Twitter, Instagram, and on all social platforms as far as streaming websites. It's just Sean Cassidy. That's my real name and artist name as well. So it's SeanCassidy. And then I also have a website platform, which is www.IamSeanCassidy.com. So I'm pretty accessible. My email is out there as well. So if you guys want to content content create or kind of to speak about social issues or even come, and kind of chat it up with us, feel free to reach out to us.
That's beautiful. Great.
And definitely shout out to House of Fresh, Gravity House, Hari, 3Play out here. We are doing a lot of things for the community, trying to reach out to people, and like I said, just trying to, mend that void, right, that from, the streets, from the suburbs, from rural areas, from state to state. We kind of want to come together and do some great things together. So I thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. And shout out to Bevie Stitch.
Oh yeah, shout out to Bevie Stitch.
Right here. Hey, shout out.
Bevie
Stitch.
We're here doing this thing. She's wonderful, guys.
Yeah.
So, I'm really thankful to have her here.
Yes. So many beautiful things coming, you guys. Make sure to follow me as well. Bevie Stitch. That is BEVIESTITCH. Oh my God, that sounded so long, but it's not. All right. Bye. Stay awesome.
All right, guys. Take care.
Yeah, we can do it with the lights out. Yeah, we can do it with the lights out. I wanna see you bust it inside out. You just hit me up, but bitches got me swerving.